Well, welcome over to the Norfolk Broads cottage this week. Let's have a look, see what's doing in the garden. We're coming up just to the end of April here in the United Kingdom, and we're starting to get a few really nice warm sunny days. But it still chills down every night. We've had hard frosts, so stuff's not coming on quite as quickly as may have been the case last year when we had such a beautiful warm late spring. Definite star performers this week are these planted tulips that we put in these planters when the geranium and other beddings came out last October to go in the greenhouse for overwintering. Try and buy fresh tulips each year to do these, and this year we went for these big double pink. I think they're called apple blossom, the particular variety. A bit pink for apple blossom really, but absolutely spectacular and just at their peak. In previous years we've had these taller purple black, I think this is called Queen of the Night, in those planters we've just seen, and when they've come out we've thickened up this planting with them, and just look how well they're doing. Now multi-headed. That would have just been one bulb garden there originally, and this year we're starting to plant this up with late flowering narcissi. This one is Winston Churchill. Got pots of these that I'm starting to put into this border where there haven't been any spring bulbs previously. This is the rose border underplanted with geranium, and at the back you'll just see some delphinium coming up as well. They should be nice next spring. I reckon I need around 30 more pots to fill the gaps between these roses, so we're looking out for those over this weekend for some offers in the garden centres. Little peonies are starting to grow away now. Bright red stems coming through the ground with the leaf buds just about to unfurl at the tips. Quite a young plant this, I think it only went in last year, but a really nice deep red if I remember right, and seems to be liking this spot. Still just getting the last of the afternoon sun. It gets less and less shady as we get closer to the summer in this border. At this time of year, in deep shade on the north edge of the cottage, is this absolutely beautiful little mauve, really, isn't it? Double flowered primrose. We've multiplied this up over the last years. I've never found it again in a garden centre to be able to rebuy it. I have no idea what variety it is, but it flowers beautifully in this shaded moist corner. Bluebells just to its side. And for autumn colour, the leaf there behind it is the autumn flowering crocus. And also in this north facing border, under this butler's sink that's so useful in the back garden, we've got the Japanese anemone that really does grow up to around 6 foot in front of the kitchen window here. That's starting to come back into full growth now and should be lovely in a couple of weeks. During the week I managed to get over and bring some of the Sedum Autumn Joy to thicken up this planting on this end corner. This has been quite an overgrown little area of the garden just on the east edge of the cottage. It's got euphorbias in, had an established planting of sedums which I think is Autumn Joy, and we split that clump that we dug up at the farm garden last week and brought it over and dug those in nicely here and watered them well in, and you can see they're looking quite happy and should, with a little bit further care and keeping them moist during the spring, grow away to form a really nice big planting of sedum that will give us lovely colour this autumn. These lime green mounds are feverfew. It's a weed really that self-seeded itself in here, but I love this little plant. It does just seed itself around very prolifically. You can see young plants coming up just to the side and gives a lovely show of flower towards the end of May into June. Little daisy-like flowers, almost like a Michaelmas daisy. We'll show you those when they are in flower, but a really useful cottage garden plant that will come back year after year. And really the lime green is spectacular in this afternoon sun. Under this camellia and the carpet of pink camellia petals that are peppering the wood chip here, we've got these Solomon seals coming up, which have been growing here I guess for probably a couple of decades. Lovely great big spikes about to unfurl, really starting to make their way through this rather unloose secured edge of the path and coming through, but I don't mind that. It'll give a lovely soft edge later in the season. And they've gone the other way into this border. Patches extending now to around 8 feet all in. That should be lovely as it opens up later in the season. The very first buds of this wisteria are just starting to open. Just look there, a little foretaste of what's to come when this opens en masse. The whole southern aspect of this cottage is going to be draped in fantastic wisteria blossom for a couple of weeks. Can't wait for that to happen. We'll show you when it does. I think we're probably around week, 2 weeks off, depending on how warm this weather gets. On the underplanting of these rose bushes along the back of the cottage, more of that fever few that I've let seed in here, and that'll be lovely for another 6 weeks. We'll probably remove it when there's no risk of frost and that's finishing flowered. We'll come back in and underplant this with the geraniums that we grow into this very dry border every year. They just love this baked position, really seem to flower well.